Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the week of March 15th through the 21st, 2021. So I wanted to start off by making a few comments about last week's astrology, or very recently, the past couple days, um, with the Sun conjoining Neptune and Venus conjoining Neptune along with the new moon. I forgot to mention some things because I was noticing a lot of friends and people that I knew were like getting sick, coming down with COVID, having more of a hard time, more crankiness or depressed feelings. And I totally forgot to talk about or mention the fact that Neptune can be very dissolving as an archetype. And so when the sun, which represents our vital force, our life force energy, who we know ourselves to be, when it comes into contact with Neptune, one of the possible manifestations or archetypal manifestations is kind of dissolving of the vital life force. So that could look like sickness, not feeling the greatest, not having as much energy. It can be kind of sleepy. Um, it can also be kind of depressing. I mean, Neptune is a planet that is very much so associated with a longing or a yearning for something that can never be or is out of reach. It can suggest mental health struggles, addiction. Neptune rules over altered states and drugs, alcoholism, any sort of a drug, really. And so it can reflect or suggest maybe fascinations with those topics, with drugs or altered states. I mean, I was just watching a Netflix show last night, not Netflix, it's on Amazon Prime, called Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia, and it's all about drugs. So that's like one way the Sun Neptune or Venus Neptune energy had manifested for me, but also low energy, feeling tired, maybe getting sick, losing, dissolving of the life force. So I just wanted to mention that in case some of you are feeling a bit down this past week or lazy or just kind of unmotivated. That could be part of it and probably is reflecting that at least. So it's not, there's always multiple ways that planetary combinations manifest. There's always kind of a more positive manifestation or a more negative. So some of you might have been feeling that kind of just sad, maybe some sadness, maybe some grief, etc. So I just wanted to mention that. So speaking of Pisces, we have Mercury moving into Pisces on Monday, the 15th. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the planet of our minds, how we think, how we communicate, how we exchange ideas. And Mercury struggles in the sign of Pisces. And this is because Pisces is a Jupiter ruled sign, which tends to be a big picture planet, a planet about faith, a planet about religion. And Mercury, on the other hand, is about questioning, is about the details. It's not about the big picture. It's kind of the opposite. So Mercury traditionally struggles in the sign of Pisces. So, doing detailed tasks might be harder, like doing taxes right now might not be the best idea. I don't know if you could wait until Mercury is in Aries, which is like, I think 2 weeks before taxes are due anyway. But it's more challenging to do mercurial things, including taxes, other detailed things, making sure you double read everything when you sign something. Um, I mean, there's always a benefit to a planet in a sign that it struggles in. It's just kind of a more unique manifestation of it. So, Mercury in Pisces is very imaginative, very creative, very in tune with its environment. So Pisces can be very sponge-like, and with Mercury here, it can be almost like psychic in a way, kind of knowing how someone is thinking or feeling, or at least thinking that you do, not necessarily knowing that you do, but kind of soaking in the vibe of a room, for example. Mercury in Pisces can be prophetic, can be very intuitive, kind of knowing something before, or like without the facts or without the data, without the details. And um, sometimes people who have their natal Mercury in Pisces might struggle with this, might struggle with this kind of knowing, or this like flow of intuition, or this feeling, but not really being able to back it up, and so people might not believe them. Um, so there is that very intuitive kind of prophetic quality to Mercury in Pisces, kind of knowing things, so trusting your intuition. But also being mindful that Mercury and Pisces can become very imaginative, and it can be a time where your imagination can kind of run away from you. Um, and so there's also this quality of over exaggerating. And sometimes the over exaggerating with Mercury and Pisces folks isn't really on purpose, it just kind of happens. And that's one thing to watch out for, is over exaggeration, maybe having a loose tongue, maybe not telling the facts, or not saying the facts, or kind of being evasive, or just not being as straightforward or direct. Um, but like I said, Mercury and Pisces can know things without the facts, and later on look up the facts, and like they're right. That's kind of one way it can play out. So Mercury and Pisces, this is about thinking in non-linear ways. Once again, Pisces is pretty non-linear, not logic focused, more intuitive, emotional, imaginative, and compassionate. So it's a time to really let your creativity flow, as has been the theme with all of these planets moving through Pisces, and to really think in nonlinear ways, and try not to get too planny, because your plans probably won't work out the way that you want them to. So leave room for flexibility. Um, Mercury, because it struggles in Pisces, it can feel a bit like a Mercury retrograde. So technology can go haywire, communications can be a bit delayed or confusing. There might even be confusing news or data, or um, something you might be missing some information. It could also be like brain foggy, a time where you're kind of debilitated. That's like one way it could play out. But Mercury in Pisces is emotional, nostalgic, and heartfelt. So it is also a good time to have a heart to heart with someone if you need to clear the air, or express something, which is kind of a theme of the week, by the way. Um, so Tuesday the 16th, the Sun in Pisces sextiles Pluto in Capricorn. So sextiles aren't huge aspects. They can go by unnoticed if we don't take advantage of it. But this is about having some sort of insight or in-depth look at something, maybe digging for something. This could be, a time or a week about honesty, but honesty with compassion. Pisces, Pisces is represented by Jupiter and Neptune, which are the storm gods. So, not to say that Pisces doesn't get angry, because Pisces definitely can get very upset and emotional and moody and angry over something. But it's also a compassionate sign. So, while it is a time to dig deep, um, psychologically, regarding maybe how you feel about something, depending on which houses are being activated, it's also, a time to be compassionate as well. So, and the reason I say that is because later in the week, Venus makes a sextile to Pluto as well. So I'm kind of thinking this is a time to dig deep in relationships, to get down to the to get underneath something, or to the bottom of something, and to be honest about something regarding relationships, maybe with a friend, with a romantic partner, with a woman. Venus usually represents women, and I think that you know these conversations, it's likely they'll go well or it'll turn out well because of these sextiles. Okay, so Wednesday the 17th, Mars in Gemini sextiles Chiron in Aries. So Mars in Gemini um, can indicate mental agitation. Gemini is the sign of the mind, and Mars can be very agitating. It's hot. It's fiery. It's a planet about conflict. It's a planet about activity and doing things and motivation, getting things done. So Mars and Gemini can be mentally agitating, first of all. So if you are having maybe increased anxiety or thinking a lot, overthinking, verbal disputes, even arguments with siblings, if you have siblings, Gemini is the sign of the twins, indicating siblings. Um, but also communication in general. So Mars works for you. Mars always does kind of what you want, right? And Chiron is an asteroid indicating where we've been wounded or where healing needs to be done. So with this sextile, this is an opportunity for healing words, for expressing anger in a healthy, healing way. Not to say that it couldn't go wrong, because it can. It's just more likely to be beneficial to you and to whoever else that you're in relationship with. So, and Thursday the 18th, this is when Venus makes a sextile to Pluto as well. So, good opportunity to dig deep in relationships, revealing the bones or the shit or the trash or whatever has been lying dormant beneath the earth. It's a good time to dig and spend some time digging, get to the bottom of it, and reveal it. But in such a way that is connective and bonding overall, because Venus has the goal of connecting and bonding, which she's still in the sign of Pisces at this point, so she's able to do that well. So, okay, so that's Thursday the 18th. Now, Saturday the 20th, the sun moves into Aries. So this is the beginning of spring. Aries is a sign that is anxious to get going, to start things, to move, let's go. You know, it can be a bit impatient in that way and perhaps even impulsive, wanting to um, maybe a bit too impatient to look into the details or into the facts, but just wants to go, go, go. So whatever house has Aries on the cusp, it might be this feeling or sense of go, go, go in that area of your life. You might want to start moving or taking action in that part of your life. Um, Now, Aries is very much so concerned with the self versus the group or versus with another person. It's about me and not about us. Whereas Libra, the sign opposite to Aries, is about us and we and how can we get along and compromise. Aries isn't really about compromising. Aries thinks about themselves first and foremost. Aries can sometimes be accused of being self centered or selfish, which is sometimes true. Sometimes Aries can really not think about other people. But the beautiful thing about Aries is that they're always watching out for number one, which is ultimately most important. Ultimately, and this is why I really admire a lot of my Aries friends, is they're not afraid to cut ties in order to be true to themselves. And I think this is an important lesson that we can all learn from Aries is that relationships aren't worth it unless it's working for you. Situations aren't worth it unless it's working for you. And so many people can be stuck in these codependent patterns. Where it's about pleasing the other person or where we're responsible for other people's emotions. And I think Aries is this really fresh energy that can be reminding that, well, is it working for you? If not, then what's the point, you know? So Aries isn't afraid of breaking ties if it means being more honest, more direct, and true to themselves, which is really beautiful. Um, This is a time to really think about, what do you want? Once again, Aries is about you. It's about the self. It's about individuating. It's about going off on your own, venturing forth, going on an adventure, and just kind of thinking about, what do you want to do? Are you excited with where you're headed right now, with what you're doing right now? What do you want? Um, Aries is also associated with the martyr or the savior, and can be, it's ruled by Mars, the god of war, the soldier. Mars is depicted by a soldier. And what does a soldier do but protect and defend? So Aries, this might be a time where you might become kind of passionate about helping someone or rescuing someone or saving someone, being the good guy. And in that way, Aries can be very non-selfish and very concerned with the other person who's suffering. Um, and that's kind of like in their nature. But when it comes to relationships with other people, plans, etc., it's not really about rescuing or saving. It's about, what do I want? So that's the 20th. The 21st, Sunday, Venus heads into Aries as well. So Venus is once again all about relationships, unity, peace, keeping ties. And like I just said, Aries is about me. It's about you. It's about um, not necessarily concerned with keeping ties, but more concerned about the self. So, because of this, Venus kind of struggles in the sign of Aries. Once again, there are challenges with this aspect, of course, or with this placement, but there's also some positives to watch out for. So, relationships at this point could start to struggle a bit. Maybe romantic relationships, maybe relationships with other women. There could be some conflict in general regarding relationships. But to use this energy well, I think it would really serve us to ask the question of, what do you want out of your relationships? Are they serving you, or are they serving the other person? Or are they serving the relationship and not you or the other person? Is the relationship working for you? Aries cares about you. Or are you sacrificing too much? Are you satisfying yourself or someone else? Are you motivated to be in relationship with someone? And this is not just romantic, this is just in general. Are you motivated to maintain relationship with someone out of wanting to keep the peace? And if so, is that worth it? Um, you know, I I don't know. Maybe it is sometimes, maybe it's not other times. But some relationships could end after realizing what you've been giving up, or if maybe you've been compromising too much. Maybe you've been um, keeping the peace at the detriment of you. That's pretty common. It might also be a time in general where there could be a struggle to collaborate, to work together. This is really a time of, asking yourself if you're doing things for yourself, if it's working for you, if it's for your pleasure, and how can we still collaborate while making sure that what we're doing is serving us individually, because it's about the individual here. So there could be some struggles around that. The your Venus ruled houses may struggle a bit. So looking at the house cusp that has Taurus and Libra, whatever those houses are, whatever those topics are, might struggle for this duration. So on the same day, Mercury sextiles Uranus. This is a kind of a small aspect. Once again, there's a lot of sextiles this week, kind of smaller energy, but still helpful if we take advantage of it. This might be a day where you need some mental stimulation and novelty. You may have innovative or original ideas. Good time to express yourself authentically. Those are some signatures for Mercury sextile Uranus. And then also we have Mars in Gemini trine Saturn in Aquarius. So remember, I think I said that this last time, but basically since last September, we've had Mars and Saturn in a whole sign square to each other, which has been very tense and challenging. This has been a sensation or feeling of um, conflict, of like banging your head against a door or a wall, of putting forth enormous effort but not feeling like you're getting anywhere. It's been very frustrating. And this is, as soon as Mars moved into Gemini, it's kind of like that weight was lifted and things became a bit easier because they were in a whole sign trine to each other. Now, Mars in Gemini is trining Saturn to the degree. So could just be a day where you work hard at something with ease. Things come more easily. Your efforts are paying off compared to when Mars squared Saturn. Could be a good day for writing, for engaging in any sort of like verbal arguments if you're like defending something. But not in like a conflict kind of way, more in an easy, smooth kind of way. But in general, it's kind of a day to get things done, to put forth a lot of effort, to work hard, and it should come easy. There shouldn't be very much resistance. So that is the astrology for the week. I will be back next week with another update. I hope this was helpful, and I'd love to hear how the week goes for you. So please leave comments if you'd like. And otherwise, I hope you have a great week. Okay, bye.